Hey there guys, so in this video I'm going to be kind of going over fight control and how I view like the flow of a fight. This is more going to be the beginner side. I'm planning on trying to do like 3 or so of these to kind of go over different aspects. So in this, right, opening, controlling your space, keeping your tempo, and knowing when to hit their block specifically. So I just want to go over like a couple different nodes in fights. Most of the nodes for this are pretty simple to know nodes. This right, I want to make sure I get that parry at the start. That's just the best, as long as you can stun the opponent, a parry at the start is just the best way to maintain, is just the best way to gain control over a fight in just about any fight. So it's cav EQ, so you just have nutty damage if you use the right champion, so it's not like a hard fight here. But right, I just want to try to be able to get my parry off as quick as I can every single time, and I want to continually push them against the wall, because I want to be able to go back if I need to. The more space you have behind you is 90% of the time going to be a better thing for you. So this is a fight where you need a little bit more control over your spacing and the control of your champion. Sentinel has a little bit of a lumbering movement, which is why some people don't like him. His dash is like a little bit short feeling, he moves a bit slow, he glides across the ground, it's kind of weird. And you have to either hit their block a ton or bait out a ton of specials for your damage. So he was throwing his heavy a lot, so I was trying to counter it because that has to do with controlling the spacing of your fight. If you know how many dash backs it is for something like that, it greatly helps out in fight control. When you see someone master a champion like Tigra, it's very crazy what fight control and what spacing control can do for you in any fight with any champion, right? Like, just with Sentinel being able to, like, parry against the wall, not parry against the wall, heavy spam against the wall, or I'm able to bait out a heavy without blocking. I'm able to, on that one, I was able to do a max range heavy attack right with the first hit. So being able to know your champion spacing, but just know general spacing of a map that you're on, being able to tell where you are, and then also what to do if your fight starts to get out of control a little bit. So like this one is not honestly that great of a matchup. This node is the tech node, Cosmic Ghost Rider is not tech, this node has Unblockable, which is, unless you're pretty good, not Cosmic Ghost Rider's friend. So we're going to pretend that one thing I did there, where I get him on the ground, we're going to pretend that's kind of an intercept. A great way to gain control of a fight and gain tempo on a fight is intercepting. I was dashing back here to try to show that, where a great way to win back spacing on the map is to intercept. Because when you intercept, you don't have to like move backwards at all, you're in fact moving into their space on the map. It's they initiate the attack, you get into their space before they get there into yours. So it allows you to regain more control over the fight if you can intercept, right? Like, and using a light intercept is a bit safer if you can pull it off. And right, with Cosmic Ghost Rider, I'm able to, I took back the whole map in, I think that was like 3 or 4 combos, which it's a good thing to be able to do. And right there, I know that he's at the end of his SP1, I'm out of range, and I wanted to trigger my judgment, so I just threw a heavy that I knew wouldn't connect. Now, at this point, like, the fight's pretty much over, but it was a bit sloppy to finish. It's not quite what you want to do, right? But I have the spacing, he wasn't unblockable then, he has a bar of power, so it's a really easy finish. This one is a good one for heavy spacing. So, Ronin is a champion that likes to get up close and personal on his special one, and with this node he has a fair bit of power with the Rise to Power node. So I'm able to counter his heavy. I was trying to give him power actually, but he didn't want to hit my block. It was kind of annoying. So when he throws his SP1 here, you're going to see I took that on block. I actually want to dex that, but I use the light to get back in a little bit closer. If you're a slightly more experienced player, at this point I feel like a lot of players have started to get used to that. But if you're newer to the game, using a light attack in that manner, like right there, let's say while he's getting up, you could actually use your lights to inch closer to them to gain control and gain space over the map. Because this game gets a lot harder the farther back you're pushed. The further back you're pushed, you start to feel claustrophobic, you start to feel cramped, you have less space to dex, and eventually you're on your own wall. And if they have, let's say, a bar of power and you were already pretty far back and now you're trying to bait against the wall, so this is just a drawn-out matchup. I needed to do someone that had a Guardian profile, and King Groot has healing. That was really all this matchup was. Tanky champion versus tanky champion. So this is about the hitting the block. So if you notice, I went all the way back. So when you get hit, the champion that gets hit gains more power than the champion that does the hit. So when you're an attacker, you always gain less power than the defender, right? And that's part of what makes spacing difficult. Not difficult in this game. That's part of what affects spacing in this game. That's like the biggest thing, honestly. It's the fact that you have to bait out a special, and sometimes if they don't feel like throwing it, you can get pushed really, really far back. Especially on a champion like Guardian, where that special, it has that triple dex, so it pushes pretty far. And here, right, I can't use a special or anything on my own. That was just to kind of show that. I was trying to armor break to see if I could. Something I was testing out for a different fight. It doesn't really matter for that one anymore, though. It was for a previous fight, actually. Something I didn't do. But when you hit their blocked hits generate a lot less power, obviously, right? And I don't see right here, the farther back I go, like when trying to dex all of Guardian's special 1 against the wall is really annoying. So I stop hitting into him, and I'm trying to hit his block. Now, if you can, it's not something you have to do, but if you can kind of get a general idea of the maps, because there are not too many of them in MCOC, there's like 9 or something at most, maybe 8? If you can kind of get the idea for center, because all maps actually have a center point on the background design. Like the one, it's like the throne, and this one, it's that little rock back there in the center. So I'm trying to use hitting his block. I go back to do this, I'm dexing against the wall, and I'm waiting for him to go back and hold his block so I can use it to gain spacing on him. Because I don't want to be against my wall when he's throwing specials. His special is really, it's not hard to dex, it's just annoying to dex. So that's kind of all it is for that fight. This one is going back to the parry heavy. Simple playstyles are always the easiest. Parry 5-hit combo with like no nodes, very easy. Parry heavy with no nodes, again, fairly easy. Now Doom adds in a bit of complexity with his block penetration, his shocks, and his staggers, and his heavy resist, right? And also the crit resistance, so this fight's going to take a while as well. So, and Mystic Dispersion because I was dueling someone. So you really have to be careful when doing a fight like this. I need to control my spacing, but as much as I can avoid it, I don't want to hit him or get hit by him into the block while he has the aura of Hazaroth, the little green icon, because I can get shocked, and then when that happens, I need to dance away or else I'll get passively stunned and heavied, and that can crit, and that does a lot of damage. Which is again why you don't want to give up spacing on the map. That's why when I can, you want to be able to like dex a harder special than this, which I mess up because I used to do that special a lot better. I've been a little bit bad at it recently. So if you can dex the specials, it helps to control spacing because most champions, if you can dex the special, you can punish a lot of champions' special attacks in this game. So right here I actually get the dex. You want to do it like at the very end of his like wrist coming out. It's just, I was just messing up on it while trying to record this. So you want to try to keep Doom especially far forward, because if you get the shock, let's say he like throws his SP1, he gets the aura, you're deep into your own territory, you're almost against the wall, and then he nullifies your dex by being near you, and then you're shocked. It sucks. So this fight was actually in War, so this is actually a really cool fight for this. So this is the Kinetic Transference Armor Break mini-boss in the lane 4 to lane 6. So right, Apocalypse has Incinerate immunity, but only after a certain amount of time. So what I want to do is I actually want to trigger Mephisto's Incinerate aura, and I want to be near him. I want to slow down my combos to take the damage intentionally and trigger my immunity eventually. So the thing is, I don't want to push him to SP3. So right there, I was actually really lucky. That's really lucky I didn't do that. Someone was asking about incursions. So recoil is obviously helping me out a fair bit in this fight, but it's not like the only thing. So like there were a couple of other things I could maybe do. So right here, I lost spacing on the fight, so I have to be able to dex this against the wall. If I had done a better job at keeping the spacing, I don't have to dex here, and because it's Kinetic Transference, if I mess up a single time, he does that. He goes to Special 3 because it hit my block, because this game's block function recently has been a little bit weirder, and sometimes when you dex, it triggers block. Fortunately, Apocalypse is a very, very beefy champion, and I landed 20%, so I don't take too much damage from the SP3 here when I live. But that's what I mean with controlling the space. If, let's say, I had done a better job throughout the whole fight of keeping him farther forward, like just doing little things to make sure that that it doesn't happen that I get pushed too far back, right? Because there I have to take more blocked hits because I'm against the wall. He needs it more of incineration, and I need to crit. I was honestly lucky he didn't throw another special 3. Fortunately, it's off-season war, so it doesn't really matter. This isn't really an apocalypse fight. This is just kind of to like emphasize like why you need to keep control. So this next one is Doom against a high ground fight. So high ground, right, people have been kind of on Doom's case because Doom has Shock and Incinerate, 2 of the 3 debuffs that trigger the sped up high ground. But Doom is still able to do really well against this, and this is the top left power gain mini boss, so when he's dashing in, he's actually gaining a lot more power than he would normally be. So I really kind of had to be careful here, because he'll gain a lot of power on that dash in if it's too big of a dash. So I need to try to maintain some distance to him, and I also can't be hit on the block too much, and I have to try to make sure he doesn't go unblockable, or I don't get hit by an unblockable hit, right? Like there is a fair bit going on. But that's part of what makes a champion like Doom so good, is he removes a fair bit of the difficulty of the control by locking them down, power control, nullify, and just avoiding taking blocked hits and being able to push them really far back really quickly. Kind of like here. But so that's kind of it for this video. And that's just the big part of it, is you just need to be able to control the fight or use the champions that can control the fight for you. Now, whichever it is, it doesn't really matter. But so again, these are kind of, like in my opinion, the keys to making your opening choice of whether you need to dash back or dex or parry. Control your space of just not having, don't meaninglessly dash back when you need to. Keep tempo. You want to have the tempo for the fight, play in a rhythm, hit their block. That's just about it for this video. I hope you guys have a good one. See you guys around. Have a good week. I'll try to get out some more videos soon. Bye.